Welcome everybody. Today I'll be taking a look at image 12 verse 10 from the Secret Treasure Hunt, commonly thought to be New York City. In this series of videos I will be attempting to accomplish a few things. First, I'm going to try to show that the starting point will lead to the search area by looking at the different perspectives presented in the image. Second, I'm going to try to provide a logical explanation for each part of the image while tying them all together in the solution. Third, I will try to address the theme of immigration and show how it runs through the solution from start to finish. And fourth, after finishing the verse, this solution will lead to within feet of the cask. It will then take boots on the ground to complete. So let's get to part one, which will be dealing with the perspective of the image. In the beginning we see what is commonly thought to be the Statue of Liberty. And if you notice on her hairline there appears to be what could be a bridge. We get to see her from the side slightly, and so if we take a look on Google Earth, it would be approximately from this position here. If we take it back just a little bit and see where we're actually viewing that from, you would basically be putting it from Governor Island. Going back to our image, the other thing that is sort of prominent in this is the bird, which is, to me, kind of a hybrid of an eagle and a seagull. And if we take a look at Ellis Island, the ferry building, I think that the head of this eagle there is probably the closest match that I've found. And then if we take a look at the actual history of Ellis Island, if we take a look for the word gull, we'll see that Ellis Island was actually formerly called Gull Island because of all the seagulls that were there. So combining those two, we have a seagull and an eagle, and that's kind of where we get this hybrid creature that is flying. Notice the direction that it's flying, kind of east, but also a little bit north. That's going to be important here in just a second. And I think it's important to also take a look at Ellis Island and understand a little bit about its history. I mean, obviously it's the place where immigrants initially came to the United States. And I think one of the things that is possibly overlooked is that on the south side of the island there was an immigrant hospital which was kind of used to quarantine people if they were coming to the country and were possibly sick. And so that theme is going to run all the way through this solution. So if we go back to our perspective here, and now we go over to Ellis Island, okay, you'll see that it's, right next to the Statue of Liberty. If we pull back, we get an interesting perspective here if we add some lines showing the viewpoint from Governor Island to the Statue of Liberty, and also from that same spot to Ellis Island, we get something that's very similar to the clock. For now, though, I'm going to remove that because I don't think that that is anything more than just a hint to what we need to do in the future, and I'll be showing that in one of the later videos. For now, we're going to take a look at a little bit more of the bigger picture as we face directly north. And if we bring up the image and we focus more on the bird, you can see that it's traveling directly east with just a slight tilt to the north. And if you were to overlay that image from Ellis Island, then its flight path would essentially take you to the mouth of the East River. If we go to the bottom of the image, you have a wave down here. And notice that it's really a pipeline. I mean, that's like a good surf wave right there. You can see that the break is creating a pretty big splash. I mean, anybody that's been in the ocean would know that's a pretty powerful wave right there. And if we take a look at surfing in the New York area, you'll see that there are a few spots where you could surf. Here's the area that we've been focusing on right here. And there's a few spots as you kind of work in the area. The closest to the Rockaways in Queens, if you're taking a look at this picture here, I mean, nothing in that picture really shows any kind of a pipeline wave. Those seem like kind of small waves. And then Long Island, or Long Beach Island, is right here. Generally, pretty much all beach break with a sand bottom. And so if you look right here, beach breaks have sand bottoms and are more forgiving for beginners. And what's interesting is right underneath that, it gives a description for reef and rock breaks, which create abrupt curling waves. So I'm not really sure if any wave or any surf set in New York City is really going to fit the image. And so it got me kind of thinking, what exactly is going on with a wave that is like a pipeline surf wave that has a huge splash? What exactly could that be trying to tell us? And so I started to think, the only time that you might see these kind of waves in New York would be during a storm surge. And those are typically going to occur when you get a nor'easter. And so that right there gives us a direction, northeast, which also corresponds with the flight of our seagull slightly. And in fact, if we take our ruler from Ellis Island and we take a line out to the northeast, you're going to see that almost directly northeast is Roosevelt Island. And that's ultimately where I believe that the solution is going to lead us. So stick around in part 2, and I'll show you why I believe that the perspective of the image is leading us to Roosevelt Island.